Hey, I'm ChristopherJMUA and welcome back to my channel. Unless you've never been here, of course, then welcome. I'm so glad you've stopped by. Because today we're reviewing yet another stick foundation. Apparently, I can't seem to get enough of stick foundations. I feel like I never will. I feel like I always need to test all of them and I always need to own all of them because they're all different. And what if I feel like I want one day and then the other one the other day? I need to have them and know the differences and why they're good or not. So today, we're gonna learn about the MAC Studio Fix Soft Matte Foundation Stick. MAC is one of those just staple OG companies, in my opinion anyway, that have just been around since the dawn of Egyptian winged liner. And the CEO was just there to touch up with Egyptian powder back in the days with pyramids and pharaohs. And now here we are in September 2019, one day away from my birthday, celebrating the release of the MAC Foundation Stick, and I am so excited. So if you want to know exactly what this foundation stick is all about, what it performs like, what it looks like, what it feels like, what I think about it, then stay exactly where you are. Keep doing exactly what you're doing, depending on what you're doing, and keep on watching. Okay, calm down. So everybody knows MAC Studio Fix, right? This one is one of the first MAC foundations I ever had. This is actually one of the first foundations I did ever have. It was my first prestige brand that I ever tried a foundation. I had Maybelline Fit Me and Wet n Wild Cushion foundation before this one, but this was my first relatively pricey foundation, and I love this foundation. To this day, I love this foundation. I still use it. This is actually the same bottle. But regardless, this is a great foundation, great coverage. It's a little heavy for some people, which I understand. It is very full coverage, but it's a great foundation. Then I discovered the MAC Pro Longwear Nourishing foundation. This one quickly became my favorite right after this one because this one was hydrating. It gave my skin like a healthy look while it was a foundation. And this is why I am so excited about this stick foundation, because I've loved every other MAC foundation I've ever tried, so I'm sure this is gonna be amazing. And if it's not, I think I might cry. Now, I got this foundation stick from Ulta for $31 and it comes in 33 shades. None of the MAC complexion products normally go hand in hand, so like how I have NW13 here as the shade, NW13 in the Studio Fix might not be exactly the same. I think that it's made out to look like it is because whenever you compare them side by side, it kind of appears like they are the same shade, but whenever they were swatched, they did not look like the same shade. They were just a little bit off. A little bit lighter, a little bit darker. Now normally in the Pro Longwear foundation, I am NW15. Now when I got NW15, I may have been more tan than I am now. Needless to say, NW13 looked like it was gonna be the best shade match for me, even though I use NW15 as my Pro Longwear shade. Before we open this and use it, I'm gonna go ahead and read from Ulta's website the details of the foundation stick itself. Portable perfection anytime, anywhere. MAC's Studio Fix Soft Matte Foundation Stick is an easy on-the-go multitasking foundation stick that perfects skin tone, contours, curves, and highlights features. Achieve buildable medium coverage with this ultra blendable formula for a natural, shine-free matte finish that lasts for 24 hours. Available in 33 shades for ultimate self-expression. Some of the key benefits are its long wearing, 24 hours, so it says. Instantly hydrating, that sounds really nice. It has a stay true color for 24 hours. It's non-pouring for 24 hours. It's non-caking for 24 hours. It's non-streaking for 24 hours. It's non-settling, I guess not for 24 hours. And it's non-creasing, and I guess not for 24 hours. It's for all skin types. Then on how to use, it says to gradually twist a small amount of product onto the skin to achieve various looks and build coverage as needed. Apply all over the face or on targeted areas for a flawless, soft matte complexion using a brush, sponge, or blend with fingers. Contour and sculpt by applying 2 shades deeper than your complexion to the depths of your cheeks, along your jawline, and vertically along each side of the bridge of your nose and blend. Highlight with one shade lighter than your complexion to the high points of your face to add dimension. Set your look for up to 12 hours with Prep and Prime plus Fix Hydration Setting Spray. So essentially the specific callouts that kind of stand out to me are buildable, medium coverage. So that tells me it's not gonna be full, obviously, because it never said full. It also says soft matte, but it keeps saying matte a lot, like just matte by itself without saying the soft. So I'm thinking it's gonna end up leaning a little more matte than soft matte. But soft matte I feel like is gonna be more like a satiny type finish where you have just a little bit of shine left to where it looks sort of natural. However, I just came up with the greatest idea. How about, instead of me just guessing what I think it's gonna do, let's use it and see what it does do. Now, as you can see, I already have, this is probably a little late to reference this because you've already noticed, but I've already done some of my eye makeup. I need to do my face makeup before I can finish my eye makeup, so I figured this was a perfect time to start using the foundation. Now, unit carton wise, very standard MAC. It's always the same kind of packaging with MAC. If you've seen MAC once, you've seen it a dozen times. And then the stick, oh, that looks really nice. To me, it looks really clean and professional. Like I would feel comfortable pulling this out of a makeup kit to use on a client. And then the shtick. I am curious as to how much product comes in this. So it's 0.31 ounces or 9 grams. The Colourpop No Filter stick has 9.5 grams or 0.34 ounces. So close to the same. Colourpop has a little bit more. The Anastasia stick foundation has 9 grams or 0.32 ounces. Pretty much exactly the same as the Anastasia stick foundation. Let's see, Wet n Wild has 0.42 ounces, 12 grams. Geez, Wet n Wild is a bargain. You get 3 more grams in the Wet n Wild foundation stick, but its finish is very different. Hourglass has 0.25 ounces or 7.2 grams. You get a whole lot less with the Hourglass, and it's a lot more. Well, not a lot more. It's $46, so it's like $13 more-ish. And then my last stick foundation is the Smashbox foundation and contour stick. The foundation side has 0.26 ounces or 7.5 grams, which is about the same as Hourglass for the foundation side. Which it makes sense for a foundation slash contour stick because you're getting 2 products in one. Either way, MAC is pretty standard along the board of pricing per product ratio. I'm gonna go ahead and prime really quick with my Winky Lux whipped cream primer. This is what I've been using like all the time lately. It's just very, very pore filling and also very hydrating to the skin. I think I'm literally in love with this primer. I think I'm gonna marry it. Mark, I love you, but you can't fill my pores like this. I actually won this primer in a giveaway, but I can tell you 100% for sure with no doubt in my mind that whenever I run out of it, I'm gonna buy it again. Or I'm going to buy it. I'm going to get it again by purchasing it. There we go. Although I do also really, really like my Milk Blur Stick. I like that one a lot too. I kind of interchanged them. All right, moment of truth. Let's see if this shade is even close. Since it says this is buildable, I know already I want it to be as close to full as I can get, so I'm just gonna go in with it. And when I say go in, I mean like go in. Oh yeah, that shade will work. Yeah, that's perfect. Ooh, I can feel that it is definitely not full coverage. You can see it when I'm applying it. Most stick foundations that I use, whenever you drag the stick down, wherever you put it, there is all pigment. But this like shears out. Huh, okay, interesting. Now, because it said this is a buildable to medium formula, I'm gonna go ahead and use a brush to blend it out. I'm gonna use my Morphe S94 because its bristles are more dense and a little bit more firm, so it should drag out the formula just a little bit better than just like a standard buffing brush. And this should help me keep some of the coverage that I have. That shade match is everything though. I was actually prepared to use a sponge with this foundation until I started applying it. Wow, so far this is reminding me a lot like the Wet n Wild stick. It just kind of melts into the skin, but it's not built up yet, so I'm not gonna judge. Maybe I should do a sponge on one side. I know some of you guys only use sponges. I am for sure 100% gonna go back in with more foundation after this, but I'm gonna go ahead and blend out this side, my left side, with a sponge first. This is just my e.l.f. I forgot what it's called. It's the extra porous one. All right, this is one layer completely done. We have the brush side and the sponge side. I feel like I don't have enough coverage yet, personally, for the kind of look that I'm going for. However, this is really nice. The finish on my skin from this foundation is beautiful. It is so stunning. It's just so skin-like, and it doesn't really look like I have anything on. Now, I do still have some redness coming through, and that's what I need to get rid of. Don't want that to show. So I'm gonna see if that can happen with this before I go in with any kind of concealer. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply a second layer and see exactly how buildable this might become. Second layer is now applied. I'm gonna go ahead and blend this out. I also went ahead and spot concealed razor burn on my neck and kind of cleaned that up a little bit, just because it said you could do light touch-ups with the foundation, which I would say so far you definitely can. If you just had slight blemishes that you needed to cover throughout the day rather than doing a full face, you could easily use this stick just to dab it on and pat it out and be done. It is definitely that kind of product for sure so far, I can tell you. Now we're gonna blend this out with the brush. And again, finish is still absolutely beautiful. Coverage definitely increased with that second layer. I don't have my redness coming through. I feel like I am a true medium now on most areas. My nose could definitely use a little more coverage, but my nose is always a problem. My nose is always a little more red than everywhere else, and foundation just never sticks to it. Usually I can get the concealer to stick to it as long as I don't touch it and set it with powder. But we're gonna see if we can get there with foundation today. For now though, I'm gonna go ahead and continue blending out the other side with my sponge. Now the sponge side is also blended out. If you've been here a while, you know that I live for a sponge when it comes to blending out my complexion products. I use it every time. Every time I do a foundation test and I do both sides, I always pick the sponge because typically, most of the time finishes don't change between brush or sponge for me with most of the foundations that I use. However, this time I choose a brush. Not because of a finish change, but because this formula is much thicker than, say, a liquid foundation or even a couple of the stick foundations that I do have. And I would say it's much easier to blend it out with a brush than it is a sponge. The sponge, you have to be a little more forceful with it because it is so much harder and it doesn't pick up quite as easily. So the bristles of a harder brush I feel work a little bit better with this one. So I am gonna use the brush just a little bit on the sponge side so that I can blend out some of the excess foundation that didn't get blended out with the sponge in the first place. Now, everything is blended out and blended together seamlessly. I do want to try to go in one more time with one more layer and see if this will build up any more. I know it said that this was buildable to medium, and I feel like I'm pretty much to medium, but I want to see if maybe their medium is a little bit different than mine if I build it up a little bit. So, third time's a charm. Okay, third and final layer is now blended out. And I mean, honestly, I don't really see too much of a difference between the second and third layer. Sure, there are some spots that maybe I didn't get quite as well the second time with the stick. Maybe it blended out a little bit lighter of coverage, but it didn't really change drastically anywhere. Now at the moment, I am seeing just a tiny bit of shine to my skin, so I'm not seeing completely matte. Granted, my face is not set yet. The foundation's probably still a little wet, but it feels creamy. It doesn't feel super wet and like not drying wet. It just feels creamy. I mean, that's the word. It feels nice though. It doesn't feel heavy on the skin, and it does look very natural to me. It kind of gives that makeup no makeup vibe, and I'm okay with that. I really like that. It does still remind me a lot of the Wet n Wild stick foundation. I feel like maybe the Wet n Wild Photo Focus stick foundation is a little bit more full on the coverage, but not by much. But I do feel like the Wet n Wild could be kind of a dupe for just based on finish, because this is definitely more of a semi-matte than a matte at this point. But now let's move on and add concealer and powder and all of our other complexion products to see A, if this formula can handle it, and B, how much it changes after adding those products. So staying true to brand, I'm gonna go ahead and use the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. This is in the shade NC20. At one point I thought I was neutral cool instead of neutral warm. Maybe I shouldn't use this with this foundation. Oh well, we're here, we're doing it. If it's really, really bad, I'll fix it, don't worry. Oh, and I'm using my Sigma F65 large concealer brush. And I'm gonna try and make sure I don't pull this down too far, because I don't want the concealer to affect any of the foundation wear. I want the foundation test to be only about the foundation. It kills me when I see other people do foundation reviews and they put concealer under their eyes, down to their nostril, all the way to the side of the cheek, all the way up the cheek. Pretty much the way I do my concealer normally. It kills me to see foundation reviews with the concealer being done like that, because at that point you're not doing a foundation review. You're doing a concealer and foundation review. Now I'm just gonna take the S94 brush back in again and just blend these two right in together so I don't have any weird lines or anything. And I guess since I'm using a lot of my OG faves, I'm gonna be using my Pure Translucent Loose Setting Powder. This is also one of my first loose powders that I really, really loved and went in hard with. And I'm gonna use my Sigma F25 tapered face brush and go ahead and set my under eyes. Alright, that's all I'm gonna set for now, because I'm also gonna go in with a cream contour instead of a powder contour. Oh, never mind, I changed my mind. So I'm actually gonna go in with the Sigma F20 large powder brush and go ahead and set my entire face, because I am in fact gonna be going in with a powder bronzer and contour. I'm looking pretty blurred over here. My face is now completely set, so I'm gonna go ahead and use my Sigma F15 powder brush, and I'm also gonna go into my Too Faced Sweet Peach Glow palette and use the bronzer shade on the far right. Oh, it smells so good. I just love how glowy this peach powder is. Although it doesn't really come out of the pan like a powder. It almost seems like it's a cream when it's coming out. It doesn't get flaky or like dust off. It just gets messy inside the container. Don't know how that works, but whatever. The only thing I don't like about it is it takes so long to build up. Like I gotta go in and in and in, and just when I think I'm done, I go back in again. See, this is just like that perfect sun tanned glow. Although I feel like I look yellow on camera right now. And I'm just gonna take a little bit of that on both sides of the bridge of my nose, just because that would also have touched the sun if I had seen sunlight. And a little bit on the tip, but just the tip and the lip and the forehead. Okay, beautiful, love that. Now before I go in with highlighter, I am gonna go ahead and spray my face with setting spray because I feel like I need it. So of course, I'm gonna go in with my MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus in Watermelon. Oh my gosh. That smells so good. Now I'm gonna use the Sigma F35 and go into my Gerard Cosmetics Starstruck palette, and I'm gonna use the shade Marilyn right there in the center. I love this highlighter so much. This is literally the perfect palette for any skin tone. You have your light, your medium, and your deep. It's just that perfect, like, this is who I am when I glisten highlight. Especially if you're a working makeup artist, that's when this is even more amazing, because then you have the highlighter for everyone. If you're not gonna use a colored highlighter, obviously. But since I have a light medium skin tone, I bounce between Lucy and Grace. rather than just sticking with the one. Okay, I'm feeling highlighted to the gods, and now the only other thing I want to do for complexion is I want to bronze a little bit more, but I want to use it more like as a contour than a bronzer per se, because I don't want to go as deep as a contour normally would be on me. So I'm just going to use my Benefit Hoola bronzer and my Sigma F15 again and just go into that a little bit. Since I already put the Too Faced bronzer down, it'll mix well, or it should anyway, and give me that definition without changing the color too much, and always blend into the hairline. Now, the Benefit bronzer is all blended out, I think as much as I want it to be. Now I'm gonna use my Sigma F10 powder brush, and I'm gonna go into my little Too Faced Apricot in the Act highlighting blush duo. It's a little mini cute little thing, and I'm gonna mainly just go into the blush side and just start applying that as my blush. Okay, I now look slightly flushed, so I'm gonna spray my face one more time. Bask in the aroma. And now I'm just gonna take the sponge that I was using earlier and just lightly press all of these powders into my skin. Okay, beautiful. Now so far, the foundation has stood up to everything I've put on it. So the loose powder, the bronzer, the other bronzer, the blush, the highlighter, the spraying, the sponge, all of it is stuck through by my side and stayed there with me and didn't abandon me. So I like it so far. Now granted, we are about 2 hours from the initial application point, and right now there's literally no difference from what I can tell. Yeah, it still looks just as good, and I'm still really liking it. Anyway, I'm very happy with the coverage thus far, but we still have yet to do the wear time test, which we are still going to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump off camera, finish up the rest of my eye makeup and my lips and my brows, get those done. And once I finish that stuff up, I will be right back and we'll see how this foundation lasts. I am now back and my eye look and lips are completely complete. So we are officially done with the look. I am ready to go about my day, well, the rest of my night actually. It's actually currently 11 o'clock p.m. So this isn't gonna be a very extensive wear test, I have to let you know now. I apologize for that. I will probably give another extended one very soon because I'll need to wear foundation again, and this is gonna be the one that I wear because I think I really like this. But I don't wanna jump to conclusions yet. So I will probably not give like a vlog style check-in because it's, like I said, really not gonna be that long, but I do still have some things to do before bedtime. So I'm going to bid you adieu for this particular moment in time, and I'm gonna go ahead and live my life, and I will check back in with you guys later to let you know what I officially think and how the foundation wore. So I will see you in just a second. We have now hit the 4-hour mark. It is like 1 something in the morning at this point, and I just finished watching Brightburn. Really good movie, by the way. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. It's interesting. But other than that, here's the foundation, and I'm quite satisfied with it. I think it looks really good. It hasn't been too terribly long, obviously, but it looks really nice. Like really nice. And I have almost no forehead creasing, and that's something magical, I have to tell you. I will have to give this a more extensive wear time test to see how it lasts through a full day and like sweating and being at school and going to work, that sort of thing, to give it like a true wear it down sort of test, because really all I did was watch a movie and eat some Snickers. So that wasn't really too challenging, but so far at this point I would definitely give this a for sure recommend. Not only because it's a stick foundation, which is I think just about my favorite type of foundation, but also because of its finish. It says soft matte and it means soft matte. Even after I set this with powder, it still looked really good. It didn't make me look dried out, and I have normal to dry skin, so it's really easy to tip me over that dry ledge. And this did not do that. My skin still looked natural, it looked good, it looked healthy, and I really like that about it, especially being drier skinned. What do you think? Do you think you're gonna try this MAC Studio Fix Stick Foundation? What kind of skin do you have? Is it more on the oily side or on the drier side? Or are you just normal and perfect? Or combo? Let me know in the comments. Also, if you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up. It lets me know that you did, and lets me know that you just like my content. And if you wanna see looks like this one, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. My username is the same for everything. It's just ChristopherJMUA. And if you gain nothing from this video, or if you gain nothing from any of my videos, please at least gain this, and that is to always remember and never forget that you are absolutely beautiful. And I love you guys. Bye.